Alexis, aka the Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to do the Bad Habits book tag. As always, I will leave the original video linked down below if I can find it. And I saw this from a bunch of people. I think Chelsea did it, I know Julie did it, I know Allie from Hardback Hoarder did it, so I've seen it around, but if I can find the original video, I'll link that down below. Question number 1 is binge drinking, and that's to pick an alcoholic character. And I think the consensus on this question is that everybody picks one of two people, either Haymitch from The Hunger Games or Monty from A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. Actually, drinking and kind of getting really drunk is a serious problem Monty deals with over the course of this book, but I just love Monty too much not to include him. He's like my favorite 1700s bisexual boy. I love him so much, and like his scandalousness and his getting really drunk and then causing a lot of drama is so hilarious and frustrating that I had to pick him. He was such an obvious choice. Question number 2 is biting your nails, and that is a book that made you nervous. And for this one, I'm going with The Martian by Andy Weir, and this on the most part is a hilarious book. This is a book that you spend most of the time laughing at, but this book made me nervous because I spent a lot of time when I was reading this book thinking about like, oh my god, what would I do if I was stranded on Mars? And it just made me really nervous because, like, spend 10 minutes trying to think yourself out of being stranded on Mars and it will make you nervous, I promise. But this book is hilarious. It's just my own brain made me very nervous. Question number 4 is staying up late, and it is a book that you read into the night, and kind of I have just like an author in general for that, and that's Rick Riordan. I pretty much can binge Rick Riordan's books because they're middle grade, they're very fun, they're very easy to read, and for the most part you get sucked into them and you just want to keep reading. Obviously you guys know that I love The House of Hades with my whole heart, but I can definitely tell you that on the whole, most of his books, I just kept reading and kept reading and kept reading late into the night because I wanted to make sure that all of my sweet children were gonna be okay. So, definitely any of Rick Riordan's books. The next question is Procrastination, a very bad habit of mine, by the way, and that is the book that you want to read but you just keep putting off. I'm sorry. Okay, I want to read Six of Crows, but it's just like, every time I get I don't know why, I like get nervous about it. I know I'm gonna love it, but it's like I'm nervous to love it. I don't know. I just like, I'm gonna read it, I promise. Hopefully still this month. This month's only halfway over. I still want to read it this month, but I don't know why I keep putting it off. Okay, I'm sorry. The next question is swearing, another habit of mine, and that is to pick a book which an author or a character uses a lot of colorful language, and I'm gonna go with The Illuminae Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And the reason I decided to go with this one is because it's told in like a dossier. Every time somebody curses in these books, they black them out. And it's kind of always funny to kind of like decode what curse word they're using, because you have to judge like, how many letters is this? What word is it? What's the context? And that's like part of like the random thing I really enjoy about this series is like figuring out what curse words everyone's using. So I went with The Illuminae Files. The next question is smoking, and it's a book you can't get enough of because of nicotine. And I had a bunch I could have used for this, honestly, but I decided to go with one of my favorite series currently, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I've read the first 2 books in the series, and every day I have to talk myself out of starting the 3rd book, because if I read the 3rd book now, then I'm gonna have to wait for like 9 years till the next one comes out. But I do love this series with every part of my heart. Like, I can't even pretend to find a fault with this series because it just fits all of my tastes so perfectly, and I just like, I at least a couple times a week find myself thinking about The Diviners because I just love it so much. The next question is overspending, and it is an expensive book that you bought, and by far the most expensive book I have on my shelves, and I admittedly do have a few that are collector's editions, but the most expensive one I have is the one my parents got me for my birthday this year, and that is the Overwatch art book. I think this retails for like $100. I think my parents did get it on sale from Amazon, but I think it retails like in the store for $100. And so it comes out of that little slit, and then it's got this thing And then this is the actual book, and it's like all of the like art sketches and information about like the maps and the characters and stuff like that. If you guys know, I mean, you guys should know I love Overwatch. But so yeah, this is the most expensive thing I have, and I absolutely love it with my whole heart. But it's a pretty penny for this thing. You can get the cheaper one, but of course I wanted the like limited edition one because your girl got no chip. The next question is lying. It is to show a book that you have lied about reading, and I'm gonna go with Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Now I have actually legitimately read this, but once upon a time I did lie about reading this. When I was in high school, like before the movies came out, all my friends were reading and loving The Hunger Games, and I read The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, but I actually lost my copy of Mockingjay, and instead of just like getting another copy or like getting it from the library, I just told everybody I read Mockingjay. And I can remember a few very distinct moments when my friends were talking about things that happened in Mockingjay, and I just had to be like, yeah, that scene, and my friends were all like, what scene are you talking about? And I'd be like, the one with PETA, and everybody was like, okay. And then finally later that year I actually found my copy, and then I was like, okay girl, you need to actually read Mockingjay now. So I have read Mockingjay. I just lied about having read it for like 6 months when I was a senior in high school. And the last question is speeding, and it is to hold up a book that you read very fast. And I'm gonna go with An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is a pretty chunky book. It's over 400 pages. And I remember flying through this book when I read it. Like, I remember picking it up from the bookstore because a lot of people were talking about it, and I think I read it in like 2 days. Which, for me personally, a book this size is very impressive. Like, I am a very slow reader, so reading a book that's like over 400 pages in 2 days, for me, is super impressive. Because I just loved this book so much. I flew through it. And I'm hoping when I finally pick up A Torch Against the Night, I'll fly through that one too. Alrighty guys, so that was the Bad Habits book tag. I'm not gonna tag anyone because I never do, but if you guys want to do this tag, there's a lot of really interesting questions, and I strongly urge you guys to check it out. If you like what I do, I upload videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!